What is up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you doing? Happy Friday. Happy wherever you are. Happy just weekend. Oh my gosh. How good does it feel to just go right into the weekend, man? Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a long one. It's been a real long week for me. As you can see, I'm kind of scruffy. I'm going to get this taken care of tomorrow. I always go about every 2 weeks, get the beard taken care of and all that stuff. So, yeah, yeah. I don't like to have too much facial hair. It's just not my bag. But that's neither here nor there. Today is Friday, the week of September 27th. My birthday week. My birthday was yesterday, for those of you out there that care. Um, yeah, the week of September 27th, I already see some of you in the chat. Jesse Say What, The Collector, Multiverse 8777, and Omar 94 already. All right. Good stuff. So yeah, let's kick things off real quick. Some housekeeping stuff. If you want to help and support this channel, there is always the Patreon. It's found in the link down below. $5 a month, cup of coffee, gets you my love and admiration, gets you my support. I decided not to do paywall content for the Patreon stuff because it's not fair to people who can't pay. So I did that route. I hope everybody's doing well out there and you guys are enjoying it. Big 30, man. Yeah, the big 30. It's really, we're going to get to your questions in a second. It's really surreal. Once you hit 30, it's like, wow, I'm 30. I don't know, like I'm an old man now or something like that. But realistically, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not that old of a person. Going out tomorrow night to celebrate at Ready Player One. It's a bar here. It's a barcade here in Orlando. Really great barcade. So if you ever get a chance and you're here in Orlando, it's a great place to go to if you just kind of want to have a chill night, meet a few people, grab a few drinks and stuff like that, and play some old school free games. So it's pretty cool. Let's get right to your questions. First things first, there was a really good one that I dug. Okay. Some comics that people don't like, but you do. That's a really tough question for me because I tend to, I tend to follow the herd a little bit in terms of what I like for comics. Usually, if I hear something's really good, I will just go ahead and pick it up and check it out. And a lot of times, it's good. A lot of other times, it's not my cup of tea. Kind of like anything that Chris Ware writes, just not my cup of tea. Nothing against the guy. I just think his writing is just not for me. As far as some of that stuff, I'm trying to think. What's something that people really don't like, but I do? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but if we're talking about films, I really dug last year's Predator film. It's not great, don't get me wrong. Last year's Predator film is horrible by all intents and purposes. It's pretty damn bad. But it's fun as hell, and I don't think it was meant to be anything other than that. It's just a fun time all the way through. And if you are a fan of Predator, if you're a fan of the A-Team, then I think you'll just have fun with it overall. It's not a good movie. I am not saying it's a good movie at all, but it's a fun movie, and I dug it all the way through. So there's that. What do you think is the most underutilized character in DC and Marvel? For DC right now, I would probably have to give it to the Question. I think the Question doesn't get enough love in the DC universe, especially lately. Granted, I'm not reading everything that's being published out in the DC universe right now. I don't think there's even a Question miniseries. What was the last Question? It was what's her name? Not more. I was about to say Moira McTaggart. That's not right. That's the X-Men. But yeah, Renee Montoya, I think, was the last Question. I don't think it's a character that gets enough love and isn't used properly. I would like to see them do something with it. Hell, I'd like to see Brian Michael Bendis maybe write a Question miniseries. I think he would be a good fit for it, since he's kind of got that background in crime noir and mystery and stuff like that. I think he'd be a perfect fit for it. But, doesn't seem like they're doing much with him. As far as the Marvel stuff, man, I love Dupe. Dupe is my boy. I would love to see more get done with Dupe. He's actually one of my favorite X-Men. He's just so funny and he's so cool. And if you ever get a chance, read that one-shot issue of Jason Aaron from Wolverine and the X-Men where you see like a day in the life of what Dupe is like. It's hilarious. It's so good because you're seeing Dupe through the eyes of like all the students, where it's just like, oh, this guy's just like a janitor. He cleans up around the school. He really doesn't do much. And then you realize He is probably the hardest worker in the school because he's basically the guy that keeps the school floating and keeps like the dimensions and stuff like that all put together. It's really cool. It's a great one-shot issue that you don't need to know anything about the character, but you'll fall in love with Dupe after you read it. I dug it. It's my bag. So much fun. Shay Smithers. Hey, Lewis, I'm a bit of a newcomer of your channel, so I hope you can bear with me asking something you may have been asked a lot before. LOL. Hey, man. Thank you. If you could only watch just 10 of your favorite movies for the rest of your life, which 10 would you go with? 10, dude. That's a big number. Holy crap. Just 10 off the top of my head. Okay, so my favorite film of all time is Seven Samurai. So it would be Seven Samurai, Texas Chainsaw, Dark Knight. Those are 3. Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049. That's 5. Halfway. Come on, halfway. Star Wars. Not the first one. Empire. Empire is my favorite Star Wars film. So that's 6. Let me think. What else is good? What did I love? I know I'm thinking of something. Oh, Endgame would probably be 1 because that's a lot of fun. 3 more off the top of my head. Oh shit! Come on. Dream Warriors, because I'm a huge horror junkie and I love Dream Warriors. Skin I Live In, which is phenomenal. It's a Spanish semi-horror film starring Antonio Banderas. It's fantastic. It's subtitled, and if you haven't watched it, it's amazing. Last one. Shit. And this could all change because this is all just off the top of my head. You know what? I'm gonna go with something fun, something 80s. I'm heading that way, and I'm thinking. Let's go with Predator, the original Predator, because I love the original Predator. So yeah, those are my 10. I would go with that. Whoa, let's go into some of these other questions that we've got going on right here in the chat right now, because you guys are the lifeblood of this channel. Whoa. Okay. Ferran Kapadia. What are your thoughts on Fables? Fables is good. Fables is really good. I fell off of Fables after the main antagonist was taking care of the first main antagonist. And then they introduced, like, I forgot the guys. It's been so long since I've read Fables. They introduced another antagonist. That guy doesn't last too long. And then I never ended up finishing the series. But I loved Fables. It's brilliant. It's a great series. Willingham's writing is sharp. It's fun overall, and it's so creative. The biggest thing about Fables is that I love how creative it is that Willingham gets a chance to just write all these different characters and these different scenarios and how you wouldn't expect it and how he kind of plays with your expectations. What's crazy is that he originally had a plan that he was going to make Peter Pan the bad guy and Captain Hook would be the good guy. He was going to flip that concept around. Because when you think about it, Peter Pan comes into your bed at night. He kind of takes the kids away to Never Never Land. It's kind of creepy. So he was going to probably like inject like a horror twist to it. But the problem was there was something involving the public domain rights of Peter Pan where he technically wasn't in the public domain. So they couldn't use him. So it kind of sucks. I really would have liked to have seen that story and seen how that would have played out. It's a damn shame we never got it, but, you know, that's the nature of the beast. Yeah, I wanted to also see them develop that TV. There was a TV show. It was going to be on ABC for a while, and it never got off the ground. Though, for some strange reason, a few months after, what was that show that, it was really loosely based off Fables, but it wasn't Fables? Like, they changed it enough to get away with it and avoid rights issues. It wasn't that good. I think it got canceled after a few seasons. Was it like Enchanted or something like that? Oh, I don't know. Somebody in the comment section will know. Hi, I like your videos. So do you only talk about Marvel and DC, or are there others that you like? I'm a jack of all trades, man. I read IDW, I read Lionforge, I read manga, I read everything. And my videos are not all Marvel and DC. If you pay attention, you're probably new to the channel, and that's cool. But my videos are not all Marvel and DC. I try to vary it up a little bit, but the fact of the matter is the Marvel and DC stuff is what gets the most pull. It's what gets the most views. And the more views equals the more money in my pocket. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So sometimes I willingly will put out a video knowing I'm not going to get too many views on this. It's probably not going to do that hot. Unfortunately, nobody's really going to watch this, and I'm probably just sinking my time into a video that almost nobody's going to watch. But if the book is good enough, I will justify it. I saw that with what was a book that I recently reviewed a book that I knew it wasn't going to be that big of a thing. God Country didn't do so hot, but I love Donny Cates' work on God Country so much that I decided, you know what, I'm going to still stick with this video and I'm going to put it out because of the fact that I love the man's work and I think God Country is absolutely brilliant. There were a few other videos that I put out in the past, knowing that I'm like, it's probably not going to get too many views. That's fine. It is what it is. Most of the manga stuff that I do doesn't get too many views simply because I'm not a manga per se channel. But I just think comics are comics, so it doesn't matter either way. And if you can read that style, good for you. Once Upon a Time. Yes, that was the show that came out. It's kind of funny because when you think about it, Fables was originally supposed to be on that channel. And then it's like a year later, Once Upon a Time premiered, and they never got Fables off the ground. For whatever reason, Fables never got off the ground, but Once Upon a Time sure did, and damn if it didn't seem like they took a lot of stuff from Fables. Can I jump into DNA's Nova without reading all of Annihilation? I know the complete collections of both Double Dip and the Nova series. I believe you can. If it's been a while since I've read that stuff, you should be able to, yeah. I mean, all that. The thing is with the DNA stuff is that it ties in so much. So they weave the stories in and out a lot because it was this huge thing about leading into this big event and leading into Annihilation and then Annihilation Conquest and then War of Kings and all this other stuff that you can do it. You can just jump into anything you want to read, but you're kind of doing yourself a bit of a disservice because it's good. Because it's all good. You know? Tim Klein, happy birthday, homie. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Are there any horror comics you recommend? Dude, I recommend horror comics all the time. Infidel was brilliant. Infidel was probably one of the best horror comics that I've read in the last few years. It's 4 or 5 issues. You can get the trade. It's so goddamn good. Anything Hellboy, the classic not creep show. Let me think. Anything horror related. Severed by Scott Snyder is really good. That is a really solid and really good horror comic. If you're looking for something along the more of like cosmic horror, then Fatale. Fatale is fantastic. Killer Be Killed has horror elements to it. It's about a demon possessed, a demon. And let me think. There's a bunch of other stuff, dude. I would have to look on my tablet, which I don't have that with me right now. But yeah, that's a good place to start off. So Infidel, Killer Be Killed, Fatale, great read. Severed, another one. Nailbiter, involving a serial killer. So if you like Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that, Nailbiter is probably up your bag without really knowing what you're into. Go back. Happy birthday. I'm just trying to go through the questions. Okay. What is your favorite book series in the Mike Mignola-verse? My favorite book series in the Mike Mignola-verse at the time was BPRD Hell on Earth. Nothing against Hellboy proper, because Hellboy proper was really cool. It was really fun. But Hell on Earth, man. Oh my God. BPRD Hell on Earth was so much damn fun. From beginning to end, it was just a ride all the way through. And I really think he stuck the landing fairly well. It must have been really tough because you got to think about it, guys. You got to think about all the stuff that he had to tie up. He had to tie up years and years and years of continuity together to a cohesive ending. And I think he stuck the landing fairly well for the most part. So Hell on Earth would probably be my choice. You know, you got Plague of Frogs, then Hell on Earth, which Hell on Earth is like that huge battle against literally demons and like cosmic beings that have come onto Earth and are just wrecking shit. And then The Devil You Know is pretty much just the epilogue and closing out that story and closing out that future point in time of the Hellboy universe. Harrow County. I've heard Harrow County is really good. Shay Smithers, good choice. Seven Samurai. Love it. My favorite film of all time. Okay, let's go with this one. About DNA, I missed that era of Marvel Cosmic. It was before the movies, so they got more creative leeway. Also, happy 30th. You're never too, you're never old in body and in spirit. Thank you. Yeah, I think that. Look, let's not beat around the bush. Let's not, let's admit for the fact that what Marvel is doing is that the movies influence the films. The movies influence the films. Goodness. The films influence the comics. The Marvel films influence what happens in the comics. Why do you think we have Black Nick Fury? And I'm nothing against it. Before somebody says, oh, you're racist or something. But that's the reason we have Black Nick Fury in the Marvel 616 universe. It's like, oh, well, we got to match the comics. Why do you think Star-Lord looks nothing and behaves nothing like the way he did in the Marvel cosmic event Annihilation? Go back and read that stuff. Star-Lord is nothing like he is right now in the comics. He is completely different in appearance, in the way he acts, completely and totally different. Same thing with Batista. Batista, goodness. Same thing with Drax. Drax is completely different in the Marvel comic book universe. He was nothing like he is in the cinematic universe. Now, I love everything that James Gunn did with Batista, and I thought it was really friggin' awesome. And I have nothing against any of the changes that James Gunn decided to do. But, those are changes, and they are trying to match the films because they think that the films are what's going to bring comics money. And they figure, okay, well, we'll match that style. It'll get somebody in. They'll be able to say, oh, okay, this is how the character is in the comics. When in fact, it's just they're following the lead. They're towing the line. Right. Shay Smithers, The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. Original 30s King Kong. Ooh, good choice. Original 1954 Godzilla or Gojira. Yeah, great choice. Jaws, Alien, John Carpenter's Thing, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and Lord of the Rings trilogy. Not bad, man. Very, very solid choice, good sir. I'm glad that you threw in John Carpenter's The Thing. Classic. In fact, I'm disappointed I actually forgot about that in my 10 list. I love John Carpenter's The Thing. Brilliant use of practical effects. And talk about being able to take an original film, an original concept, because the thing, when did the thing come out? 1970s, 1980s. The 1970s Thing is actually a remake of an older film. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's a remake of a much older film. And goodness, I can't wait to get the 4K of that. I love The Thing. I love the John Carpenter's The Thing. The use of special effects is just, even today, if you watch the film today, the use of special effects on John Carpenter's The Thing is incredible. It holds up so damn well. And the reason behind that is because they use practical. And practical, if it's done right and if it looks good enough and you know how to shoot it, looks far better and ages far better than the stuff that when they use digital. You could take, for example, let's take a look at the film Avatar. Not The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. That was horrible. But Avatar. For its time, Avatar was insanely ahead of its time. And the 3D on it was insane. Pop in the Blu-ray of Avatar now. And I'm sure it doesn't look terrible by any means necessary. Pop in the Blu-ray right now, though, and you're going to look and go, wow, this looks really dated. Especially when you compare it to stuff like what they've done with Avengers, with Thanos, and what they've been able to do, what Disney has been able to do with like the de-aging technology, and you look at Ultron and so many of these other current really huge special effects characters. But compare that to Avatar, and it's like night and day difference. It's getting so much better. And it kind of worries me because how is Thanos, who is an amazing special effects, he looks incredible. How is that going to compare, say, 20, 30 years from now when we've gotten even further in terms of special effects? Is it going to look really dated? That's kind of why I have a special place in my heart for those old school horror films like The Thing, where they were really intelligent in how they use practical effects. Or even take Pan's Labyrinth. Pan's Labyrinth is a film that came out around the time of Avatar. And if you look at Pan's Labyrinth, it's still a gorgeous film. It looks incredible. That's because Guillermo del Toro, once again, knew this is how we use practical effects. He's a master at it. And goodness, man. So let's go back to over here. We got a few more questions. Okay. Question 94 Evangelion. Each author's strengths and weaknesses. Stephen King. All right, so Stephen King's strength and weakness. I would say Stephen King's weakness is the most obvious glaring weakness is Stephen King has difficulty with endings. We've seen it in multiple books. He has trouble sticking to an ending. His strength is his ability to really draw you into a scene and really set the tone for horror. The opening chapters of it are phenomenal. Brilliantly well written, brilliantly well paced. He really builds the tension really well up until the climax of it, and just fantastic. Phenomenal stuff. Brandon Sanderson. Okay, so Brandon Sanderson is a writer that he is fairly new to me, I will admit. I'm only making my way through right now the Stormlight Archive, and I still haven't finished the first book. But his sense of creating a world and pacing and the magic system that he uses and how he fleshes all that stuff out is unparalleled to me in this day and age in fantasy writing. Like, he is the GOAT right now for me. Brandon Sanderson is the best one doing fantasy writing right now, and nobody is even close to touching the stuff that he is writing right now. Like, it's insane. It really is insane. His weakness, that is really tough for me to say, simply because I'm not that familiar with Sanderson's work. I've only read about half of the first Stormlight Archive book, but I will say that I think his weakness is that he needs to be able to trim some scenes and know when to end them a little bit sooner. He needs to just cut back just a little bit. George R. R. Martin. George R. R. Martin, man, that's kind of a tough one. I'm going to say for George R. R. Martin, his strength is in his ability to just be able to craft a world that is fantasy, but it's modern. And it has a lot of modern trappings in it. And in his ability to be able to make you fall in love with even the most evil and vile piece of shit of a character, and then when he does something to them, you feel completely terrible for him. He did it with Jaime Lannister. He did it with, to a much lesser extent, and I mean much lesser extent. What was the name of the little shit? The little kid. I can't remember his name. Horrible little kid. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the kid's name. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section. But yeah, Cersei's son. For some reason, I'm blanking on the goddamn kid's name. He's able to really do that well. His biggest issue, he needs, aside from pacing, because it's obvious that he really struggles with writing in terms of his pacing and when to get stuff done. He needs an editor. Bad. Like a really badly. He needs an editor, because there are times where things just go on way too fucking long. There are whole paragraphs that just go on way too fucking long, and they need to be cut. And that's probably my biggest, what I think Brandon Sanderson's greatest advantage is that yes, he will go a little bit too long for my taste in chapters, but he knows how to keep pace. And he's better at keeping pace in a story than George R. R. Martin is. He's much better at doing that. So those are probably what I would consider. Again, that's just my opinion, you know. Let's go. Also, Grant Morrison or Alan Moore, strengths and weaknesses and style. Oh man, I'm gonna go with. I like Morrison overall a lot more than Alan Moore. See what I did there? Alan Moore's style is very prose heavy, very super detailed. Versus Grant Morrison, where Grant Morrison tends to go a little bit weirder, and I think that can also bite Grant Morrison in the ass sometimes, where it goes a little bit too far and too into the weirdness, where it just kind of doesn't make any sense. Alan Moore's biggest issue for me is that the guy's kind of, he's an amazing writer, phenomenal, one of the best ever, really one of the best ever, if not the best ever by a lot of standards. And I think his weakness is for me is that it's a bit dry. Some of his writing is a bit dry, and I just kind of get bored after a while. But hey, who am I, right? I'm just a nerd online who's talking about comics. Let's see. Hey Lewis, this is from Omar94. Great news for fans this week as Spider-Man is back in the MCU and Kevin Feige is producing a Star Wars film. I'm really excited to see what it is a Kevin Feige produced Star Wars film is going to look like. Because regardless of whatever happens, everybody's going to say, well, is it as good as like the Avengers stuff? Is it as, like, does it resonate as much as the Avengers stuff does, or the Marvel stuff? So it kind of just makes a lot of sense that you would have Kevin Feige kind of jump in and do the Star Wars stuff, simply because the Star Wars stuff has been so kind of polarizing in terms of the fandom. But I'm of the mindset that it doesn't matter what you do, there are still going to be people in Star Wars, in the Star Wars fandom, that are going to bitch and moan and complain about the slightest things, because that's what they love to do. It doesn't matter. Like it really, ultimately, it doesn't matter, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to complain and they're going to moan and they're going to whine. Oh, it's not like how I would. It's not the Star Wars movie I would like to see, or the Star Wars movie I would like to make. So, but then again, I've never been that big of a diehard Star Wars fan. So, maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Star Wars, with Feige on Star Wars, I think it has a lot of potential considering his connection to Marvel and now Star Wars. Maybe he'll use Patton Oswalt's filibuster from Parks and Recreation. Yes, I would actually like to see that if he uses filibuster. Let's get back to you guys a little bit. Okay. See what else we got. Have I read King's 11/22/63? He sticks the ending on that one. That's the one involving JFK, if I'm not mistaken, right? I haven't had a chance to sit down and read it. I really want to, simply because of the premise. Really sounds interesting and up my alley. I dig revisionist history stories, and that sounds like it would be something I would really love to read. Good point, Lloyd, which is why The Haunting from 1963 is still the only movie that still scares me. Should I bother with the Battle Chasers anthology trade paperback? I like to read it for the first time, and I like Joe Mad, but don't own any of his art. You know what? I've never read the Battle Chaser stuff. That would actually be a question that you should ask Gabe. Gabe loves Joe Mad's art, and I really enjoy Joe Mad's art. I like his style. I think it's really cool and it's really fun. But that's a Gabe question. I know Gabe really, really digs Battle Chasers. He's a huge fan of it. He loves the games. And I think that he would be able to give you more of a concise and better answer. Because I don't want to tell you, yeah, go ahead and pick it up. And then you pick it up and you read it and you go, that was fucking terrible. I hated it. It's not for me. Alien terrified me. Leery watching the victims getting snatched and killed and imagining death. So here's my question for you guys. Alien or Aliens? Which one do you like better? I am an Aliens guy. I know. There's that split in the fandom of a lot of them saying, well, Alien was really cool, and it was, because it's such a tight-knit film. It's just a bottle film where you're stuck in a space station. There's one alien, and you're fighting it, and you're trying to figure out how it is that you're going to take care of it. And there's, of course, that first chest burster scene where they bring the guy up to the dinner table and they're having a good time, and then all of a sudden he starts spasming out and he falls onto the table. And you, as an audience member, you were, the first time you probably saw that, are thinking, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And then all of a sudden, bah, like the chest burster comes out of his stomach, out of his chest, and it's just, holy shit. So I know for a lot of you out there, you're gonna have a special place in your heart for that. I loved Aliens, though. I love Aliens so goddamn much, man. I love the fact that it's the men on the mission team. They're going into a base and they're just surrounded. This group of badasses surrounded by a whole bunch of aliens, and they have to figure out a way to take him out and to get out of it. Oh, so good. So good. They're both great films. No, they are both great films in their own way, but Alien is more of a straight up horror film, where Aliens is kind of like an action horror film. Aliens leans a little bit more towards the action side, which it makes sense considering the nature of who the main characters are, where you have that crew of just badass guys who they are just fighting their way out of it. Brilliant film. Would you recommend Thanos War Omni? I have not read it, so I can't tell you. That was the scene I was imagining. Star Wars needs a reboot. Go back 1,000 years, have a Feige do a series of movies showing the beginning of the Old Republic and creation of the First Jedi Order. I would love that. I would love to see the Jedi at their peak, man. I would love to see that shit. Like when the first, oh my god, yes, please, yes, I want to see all that. I would love to see the creation of the Jedi Order, the Knights of the Old Republic. Oh my gosh, brilliant stuff. Yeah, yeah, they really need to. It's a universe. Like, let's get away from Han. Let's get away from Luke. Let's get away from Leia. Let's get away from this particular group of characters because for some reason they seem to be stuck on these characters, which is part of the reason why I liked Rogue One. But even Rogue One had to tie in to the first Star Wars film. So we need to get away from this. Let's separate entirely. Let's do something completely different. Let's find another story, find another avenue, which is why I'm excited for The Mandalorian, because it's like, okay, it's The Mandalorian. It's not, Luke and Leia and Chewie, and it's none of that. There is no relation to them. Thank God. Let's do something separate. It's a universe. It's space. It's big. You can do so much. There's the extended universe. Hell, there's stories that are literally written out there that you could pull that would be so much better. Let's go back in time. Let's get some good stuff, man. Okay, see, but the problem is with Alien is the cat. The cat situation, which it's become kind of a trope where Ripley is good and was it Alien or Aliens? I can't remember which one had the cat. Which it's been so long. Where the cat Ripley decides to go back and do something completely stupid where she has to go back and get the cat. And that was just like, really? You've got this great female character. She's super intelligent. She's making all the right choices. And now she's kind of dumb because she's going back to save a cat. Why? I guess she really loves cats. I don't know. Never that decision to me always rang a little bit false, and it just never really made any sense to me. Also, if you watch that film from the perspective of the cat helping the alien kill all the humans, it works. It really does work. I urge you guys, go watch it and watch it from the perspective of the cat is the one that's helping the alien kill all the humans. Like they're teamed up together throughout the film. Which, wouldn't surprise me. Have I checked out Middle West by Scotty Young? I haven't. I've heard it's really good, though. I'm going to add those to my tablet probably sometime this week. I'll probably expect a review of that sometime next week. This week was kind of light in terms of content. It's been busy. It's been a crazy week. It was my birthday yesterday. So it's just been tough, man. It's tough. The weekly grind is tough, but I like doing it. I like putting out content, and I like helping you guys out. Ripley, get away from her, you bitch. The best line. It's a great line. It really is. The plot depends on the initial screw-ups of the Space Marines, man. But isn't that for the most part the plot of like every single Alien film going forward? It's like, oh, we found this alien life form. Oh, we shouldn't probably mess with it. Oh, let's mess with it. Oh my God, it's horrible. Usually that's how it goes, right? For these alien films, we saw it in Prometheus. We saw it in what was it? Alien Covenant? Especially in Prometheus. Prometheus is kind of a victim. I like Prometheus. Don't get me wrong. I really dig it. I think overall Prometheus I liked even more than Alien Covenant. And I thought Alien Covenant was just okay. Wasn't terrible. It was just okay. My issue with Prometheus is that you've got really intelligent characters that are making dumb decisions. You've got the guy who he has the map and is lost. And you've got the guys who they are they know they're on an alien planet. They're exploring the alien planet and they see this really weird looking alien and it opens up its mouth and the guy's like, "Oh, let me touch it." And he sticks out his hand and he dies. So it's stuff like that it's like, oh, come on, Ridley Scott. You're a lot better of a writer than this. I know Damon Lindelof had a hand in that script, and I know that script was rewritten a whole bunch of times. Prometheus was, but it's just little stuff like that where I'm just like, I can't believe you guys didn't catch that. Come on, man. You know? And I like Prometheus. I really dug Prometheus, and I was super excited to see Alien Covenant. On Alien Covenant. Wasn't that crazy of a fan of it. Who knows if Ridley will get another crack at it. I think I read like a few weeks ago that like negotiations are ongoing, especially now that Disney owns the rights to Alien. Think about that, huh? But you never know. You never know. I'd like to, you know what? I'd like to see the xenomorph in Kingdom Hearts. Can we get like a level where Zora, where Sora is like on a space station and he's running away from the alien or something like that? You can even have Donald like get a chest burster or something like that. It'd be pretty cool. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I've got a sick, twisted mind like that. I think it'd be fun. You know, I don't think anybody would think it'd be fun, and I'm pretty sure if I worked on the game and I proposed that to Disney, they would say, "Get the fuck out of our office. You're fired." Shay Smithers, yeah, I love Aliens as well. Don't get me wrong, but Alien edges it out just a bit more for me. Both great films, regardless. Yes, they are both great films. Alien is a great exercise in tension, whereas Aliens is just great horror action. It's kind of the difference, and I know a lot of fans were crazy about this, but it's kind of the difference between the original Halloween and the 2018 version, where the original Halloween was a brilliant exercise in tension and in really having you on the edge of your seat. That's super effective still. But the 2018 version was much more of a traditional slasher film, which I didn't have a problem with it because I love, like, slasher films are my bag. They're my favorite subgenre in terms of horror. I could watch slasher films all day and night. But it did miss that sense of building tension where Michael Myers, that scene where he is literally standing behind Laurie Strode and you know he's going for her, but they're just holding it. They're holding the scene and they're holding that note and they're holding that moment. And just when they finally release that tension, it builds again. Just, so good. Multiversity of 77. One of my cats is named Louie. Aw, I have a cat. Black cat, Cosmo. Love that little guy. The prequel trilogy remade a 5-season HBO adult sci-fi drama. Oh, are you saying that you would like to see a Star Wars prequel, but a 5-season HBO adult sci-fi drama? I'd be down for that. Obviously, it's never going to happen simply because of the fact that if we're talking Star Wars, Marvel's not going to let that happen. Star Wars is still a cash cow. Makes a lot of money. Doesn't matter what like all the internet trolls and stuff like that online say, and all the really sensitive man children and stuff like that say. Star Wars makes a lot of money. It makes a shit ton of money for Disney, and they ain't giving up that stuff to HBO. No, we know that they're already going to do most of the Star Wars stuff. I'm willing to bet is going to be on the Disney Plus stuff. Maybe some of the more mature and like PG-13 stuff will end up on the Hulu streaming service, maybe, but it's not 100% sure. So, didn't Rob Zombie do a version of Halloween? How was that? It wasn't great. It admittingly was not great. However, it wasn't terrible either. It wasn't my bag, and I didn't hate it, but like I said, it wasn't super terrible either. The second one was god awful. Like the first one was okay. The second one that he did was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. But yeah, overall, I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. Alien is way scarier, but Aliens is more Terminator-infused action. Cameron brought his boys to the casting of the Aliens. Yes, he did. Yeah. Aliens is definitely more of that Terminator 2. It is the Terminator 2 of the Alien franchise, where it's bigger, bolder, there's a lot more going on in it, and it's way more badass in certain areas. Have I played Gears of War 5? Yes, I wrapped up Gears 5 last night. Yeah, I was able to wrap up Gears 5 last night. It was fun overall. I thought the campaign was great. It paced really well. I was kind of surprised it was only 4 acts. Traditionally, most Gears games are 5 acts, and they wrap it up there. But the fact that it was 4, I was like, oh, okay, it's a little bit shorter. That's not bad. That's nice. Yeah, I thought Gears 5 was okay. It just ends. My big gripe with Gears 5 is that it just simply put it ends. It doesn't it just drops. And you get to the ending and it's like, oh wow, okay, we've got one more act to go. Okay, this makes a lot and then it just cuts off. I'm like, oh, okay. That's all right. I guess I gotta wait till Gears 6 now to get the proper ending of this story. It's kind of lame. It pulls a Halo 2. Where Halo 2 is like, oh, let's finish the fight. And you're like, yes, I'm super excited. We're going back to Earth. We're going to finish. And then it cuts off right there. I'm like, you left me with blue balls. You guys suck. But it was fun. Overall, a good campaign. It's probably my second favorite campaign behind the Gears 3. I still think Gears 3 is my favorite. Have you seen the Nicholas Scott artwork of Nightwing throughout the years? What's your take? Not a Nightwing guy, so I don't know if it's out of character for him to strike that pose. Nightwing got cake, man. Nightwing is thick. Yeah, that was trending on Twitter for a day. It was like, holy crap, Nicholas Scott. Like he gave if you ever get a chance, look it up. Just it was all over Twitter a few days ago. Nicholas Scott it just did this single drawing of Nightwing throughout the years. So you'd see Nightwing, and it's like, oh man, this is how his different interpretations. This is how he looked throughout the years and stuff like that. And on the front, the very first thing you see is Nightwing posing. He's looking behind, and his ass is like right front and center. It's like right front and center for you to see, and it is perfectly. It's like a bubble ass. It's kind of weird. I feel really weird talking about this, but it's kind of weird, but really fun overall. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Overall, good stuff. It was funny. I got a good laugh out of it. I know a lot of people got a good laugh out of it. I was just wondering why did she draw him so goddamn thick? Oh my gosh. Oh man. All right. Hi, Isa. Nice to see you, man. Multiversity 777. What music am I into? Right now, I'm listening to a lot of just. I've been in kind of like a nostalgic sense. I've been listening to like a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire and a lot of Rolling Stones and just old stuff for some reason. Johnny Cash. I don't know why. It's just been something that I've really been into over the last few weeks. A lot of Fleetwood Mac, not Pearl Jam, Jesus, Pink Floyd, things like that. I don't know. Just been in a place of like, I've been in a place lately where it's just, yeah, okay, really peaceful, really zen-like place for some reason. Yeah, it's been pretty good lately. I've been having a pretty good month so far, which is nice because the rest of the year has kind of really been shit. It's been a real shitty year for me, and things seem to be turning around. So fingers crossed it stays that way. How do you feel about the constant use of secret identities in superhero stories? To me, it's tiring, and that is why I like superheroes with public identities such as Wally West or FF. Yeah, the secret identity thing has kind of, for a lot of superheroes, it's kind of run its course. It really doesn't apply too much anymore. Of course, you still have characters, like Batman and Spider-Man and stuff like that, where it just works with them. But I can see why somebody like you would be like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of this. I don't really like the secret identity thing. It's really cool that you've got a guy like Iron Man who he is flat out there saying, yeah, I'm Iron Man. This is what I do. It's pretty badass. Well, the thing is with Nightwing, Matthew, is that it is canon. I forgot who it was. One of the characters in I think it was Barbara Gordon, where they were like, yeah, Nightwing has the best ass in the DC universe. He's got like an amazing ass. That is canon, okay? That is confirmed canon. They've said it in the comics. So I guess she decided, yeah, let's just play it up a little bit. What anime have I been watching lately, if any? Demon Slayer. Been watching a lot of Demon Slayer. That's really good. I'm gonna start Fire Force pretty soon. I've heard it's really good as well. I started reading Black Clover. Starts out like your traditional shonen type of manga, but it gets a lot better as it goes along. Black Clover is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Alien Salvation was pretty good. It was. I'm interested in checking out some of the Alien vs. Predator comics that I think were written in the 90s. I heard that they're apparently much better written than the movies were. I've heard the same thing too. I've never actually checked them out. So that's kind of a thing on me. I've never checked them out. I've heard the same thing too, that a lot of the Alien vs. Predator 90s stuff was actually pretty badass. It was really good. Have you read any Green Arrow comics? Yes, I always recommend people that want to read Green Arrow. You can start reading Green Arrow. Kevin Smith actually had a pretty solid Green Arrow run. It was only a few issues, but it was solid overall. Jeff Lemire's Green Arrow run is fantastic. It's really great. Green Arrow Year One, which has art by Jock, is phenomenal as well. I really recommend you check those stories out. Really great stuff. Is there any news on Black Summer? That series was so badass. I'm pretty sure Black Summer got picked up for a season 2. I dug Black Summer a lot. And that's my dog. So bear with me for a second. The Grow Omnibus. Huh. OG Predator comics are some of my favorite by A3N. All right, guys. I'm going to give you guys about another 5 minutes because it's been a hell of a long week. I kind of just want to relax and just enjoy my Friday night. Probably going to go out and get a few drinks with some friends or like my brother or something like that. We'll see what happens. We'll see. The night is still very young. I know tomorrow night, like I said, I'm going to be at Ready Player One. It'll be a lot of fun out there. It's a barcade. I don't know if a lot of you guys have those in your towns or not, but it's pretty cool. Ready Player One is a barcade. Like all the games are free there. You just got to pay cover charge. I think cover charge is like $5. It's nothing bad or anything like that. But it's a good time overall. Just a great, great time with friends and stuff. Celebrating my birthday. Turned a big 3-0. That was really a weird experience for me. Nightwing is the real ladies' man, not Batman, because Dick Grayson is kind, handsome, well, that ass. It's true. It is very true. Nightwing is very much known as a ladies' man in the DC universe. Yeah, Spidey's back in the MCU. If you go back and watch the Omni Bros live show when everybody was freaking out saying, holy shit, like, oh, Spider-Man is not coming back. Come on, guys. Really? There is too much damn money left on the table for that to not be. Let's be real here. Did any of you guys really expect Spider-Man not to be back in the MCU for at least one more film? We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen. You know, I also kind of find it kind of funny that the weekend before Spider-Man Homecoming, not Spider-Man Home, Spider-Man Far From Home comes out on Blu-ray and DVD and 4K, they were able to miraculously cut a deal. Oh, wow. God, it's marketing. All this was bullshit marketing, honestly. You know, and the vast majority of the internet, they fell for that shit. They really did. You know? They bought it hook, line, and sinker, because that's what we are. That is where we're at as far as like entertainment, and as far as media and social media and our consumption of social media, where they know how to play us like a fiddle at this point. And that's what it was. It was like, all right, well, let's just, we'll throw this news out there that, oh, things aren't working well for us. We don't know what we're gonna do. Is Spidey coming back? Is he not? Holy crap! No, he's not coming back. He's gonna be going to. Come on. It was total BS the whole time. Let's be honest. All that stuff was total BS. There was too much money to leave that stuff on the table, and we knew A good chunk of us knew, like, there is no way that they are not coming back and doing another film. Like, there's no way. Have you seen Midsommar? Yes. Midsommar is in my top 3 films of the year. Love it. Love Midsommar. Brilliant film. I don't even really know. I honestly don't even know what to classify Midsommar, because is it a horror film? Is it not? Like, it has small horror elements to it, but it's really not a traditional horror film. I love Midsommar though. Oh my gosh, I love that film. I know it's unpopular, but I don't think Spider-Man 3 was that bad. There are a lot of stuff I like. I have to go back and watch Spider-Man 3. I actually have the 4K and I still haven't sat down and watched it yet, but it's one of those films where I plan to go back and check it out sometime. Do you ever think we will get a Marvel versus DC movie like every no, Craig, I'm sorry. Yeah, we will never get a Marvel versus DC film. Like, there's just no way that'll happen. Simply because you have Warner Brothers and you have Disney, and Warner Brothers is owned by 18. It's not happening. It's never gonna happen, unfortunately. You would have to have so many deals cut. Okay, this character gets this amount of hits on this character. No, Superman can't lose to this. It wouldn't even be a good film. It would be hampered so much by studio interference, and it's not happening. Two totally different studios, and as cool as it sounds, not gonna happen, brother. Sorry. All right, so it's been about 50 minutes. I actually have to get going. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been fun all the way through. I hope you guys are doing really well out there, and I hope we can chat next week. So, same time next week around 8 o'clock, unless something happens for whatever reason. And I love you guys. Follow me on Twitter, best way to get a hold of me. And of course, there's the Patreon down below. If you want to kick a couple of bucks to a brother and help to keep this channel alive, it's always greatly appreciated, guys. And of course, I love you guys. Buy your books with cash and have a good night. Bye. Bye.